then. And we appear to be good and live. Yay. Good morning, beloveds. It's kind of a day. We finished that big order that I'd been working on at work, which is good. It only took 3 days. I have an orthopedic appointment today, ideally to get the shot, a hyaluronic acid shot in my knee. We'll see if that helps at all, because I don't know how to feel about it. And then it is also my partner and I, it is our 26th wedding anniversary. And, but we've been together for 33 years. And when I stop and think about that, that's a long time. I met him when I was 19. So, which means I just told you how old I am, if you math. So, yeah. So, October 9th. Yay. Okay. We are doing your spiritual power. Actually, we're doing what religious science teaches in your spiritual power, but let's do the housekeeping first, and then we'll get into the semantics, because literally that's part of what I'm doing here. And all the housekeeping is me reminding you that we are Creative Life Spiritual Center. The website is creativelife.org. The constant contact email, info@creativelife.org. That will get you 1 email a week, tells you what's going on for the week and the month. The hot links are hot, and it is a blind CC. So when I say hot links are hot, if it says click here now, it means it. It'll take you right to the information or the person that can help you get it. And when I say a blind CC, what that means is nobody's going to see your email. The email goes out to over 500 people. It may be more than that at this point. But nobody sees your email. So you won't end up on anybody else's email list because of us. We want you to feel comfortable getting on that newsletter. And it's 1 a week, unless something unusual happens. I will point out, not that we've had any, and I don't want any because we had one last year. We do live in hurricane country. All right, so there is that. And I guess we will move on to the social medias. I only mentioned the social medias because we do not monetize the social medias. We don't want to deal with the ads any more than you do. So what we ask you to do instead is to go like, subscribe, follow based on which platform it is on the individual pages, and then engage with the individual posts. So react, comment, share the individual posts. We think we have good tools to share. We hope you agree, and it is a free and easy way you can support the center. All right. Okay. So back to your spiritual power. Your spiritual power is a collection of inspirational writings. Basically, it's some of his rarer work. It's work that it's pamphlets and booklets that you might not see anywhere else. They may be out of print. Or they were published in specific places. So somebody pulled them together and put them together in a book. Now, I believe what religious science teaches. I have a book. I actually have 2 copies of that. So, which is what we are doing now. We happen to be, and what I liked about it was he showed his work on the principles. We have a declaration of principles. We have 10 principles, and it kind of gives you a line out of, okay, this is what we actually believe. Well, he showed you where he got his ideas from. Some of the quotes I did not agree with. I was like, some of them made me somewhat uncomfortable, but that's what he was doing. He was saying, look, in these other texts, and I like the way he kept saying other Bibles, because the Christian Bible isn't the only Bible according to him. I call it sacred literature. Like, there's sacred literature all over the world. But I thought it was interesting that he called it other Bibles. So he would mention other Bibles, and here we are. So it was interesting. We are going to do the appendix. I have no idea what's in the appendix, so we're going to find out. So I'm going to put my glasses on, because this is it. We're done with that. We move on to, I think, Pray and Prosper is next. So let me get my light on. My trusty highlighter ready, and we are doing the appendix to what religious science teaches. Professor Max Muller, one of the greatest European, oh, that's an old word, Orientalists. I don't think they call him that anymore. But basically, I'm sure he was a European scholar specializing in the Asian cultures. Okay. And author of The Sacred Books of the East has well said that the true religion of the future will be the fulfillment of all of the religions of the past. All religions, so far as I know them, had the same purpose. All were links in a chain which connects heaven and earth, and which is held, and always was held, by one and the same hand. All here on earth tends towards right and truth and perfection. Nothing here on earth can ever be quite right, quite true, quite perfect, not even Christianity, or what is called Christianity, so long as it excludes all other religions, instead of loving and embracing what is good in each. Well, now that's really interesting. And that's really interesting. There's a TikTok, what I follow her on Instagram and Facebook, and she has a lot to say about a lot of things, and she's a comedian. But one of the things she pointed out was there are over 45,000 different sects of Christianity, and she says that's what makes that's one of the things that makes non-Christians, because I believe she's Jewish, makes non-Christians look at Christians sideways, because Christians can't get along with each other. And the premise of that was started by the mere fact that somebody said that Catholics weren't Christian. Now, I grew up Catholic, and I've heard that, that Catholics aren't Christian. I'm like, but we read the same, when I was Catholic, we read the same book, we follow the same teacher, we do all the same sacraments. In fact, we have a couple more sacraments that, a lot of the other religions don't use. How are we not Christian? And I think that was her point. That was exactly the point that she was making is, if one Christian is telling the other Christian, well, you're not a Christian, excuse you? That's between me and God, not between me and you. You don't get to decide that I'm not a Christian. So, and that honestly is one of the beefs that I have had with a variety of Christians, because I actually pretty much got told in my store that I wasn't baptized properly. Because to be baptized properly, you have to be full immersion. And I, being raised Catholic, had the water poured on me as a baby. And I was just like, okay, so yeah, and there you are. That is my beef with Christianity. It's not the only one, but it is a major one, because when Christians sit there and look at each other and say, you're not Christian, then that immediately stops the dialogue. You cannot have a conversation with somebody that is denying without, yeah. So I agree with Ernest right here, or with Max Muller, no religion is going to be enough if it excludes all others without loving and embracing what is good. And all of the religions, almost all of the religions have good things in them. If people are getting fed in the religion, then there is something good in that religion. Okay, back to Ernest. Like many other religions of antiquity, the origin of Taoism is more or less obscure. According to some authorities, it was said to have begun around 600 BC, which antedates Confucius, who was born in 551 BC. The world generally associates Taoism with Lao Tzu, a Chinese metaphysical physician who was 53 years older than Confucius. It was this philosopher who must have gathered together these teachings. Archdeacon Hardwick tells us that the Chinese word Tao was adopted to denominate an abstract cause, or the initial principle of life and order, to which worshippers were able to assign the attribute of immateriality, eternity, immensity, invisibility. The Upanishads, the Vedas, the Mahabharata, the Raja Yogi philosophy, as well as the Bhagavad Gita, are all drawn from the ancient wisdom of India. The philosophy of Buddhism, who was born in the 6th century BC, is too well known to need any comment. The sacred books of the Parsis, Parsis, is called the Zen Avesta, which is a collection of fragments of ideas that prevailed in ancient Persia 5 years before the Christian era and for several centuries afterwards. The Book of the Dead is a series of translations of the ancient Egyptian hymns and religious techniques. They were found on the walls of tombs, in coffins, and in papyri. Like many other sacred traditions, there were probably no written copies in the earlier days. They were committed to memory and handed down from generation to generation. Some students believe that the books of Hermes Trismegister, which means the thrice greatest, originally derived from ancient Egyptian doctrine. Hermes was a Greek god, son of Zeus and Maia, daughter of Atlantis. To Hermes was attributed the authorship of all the strictly sacred books, generally called by Greek authors Hermetic, which that's apparently from the Encyclopedia Britannica. According to some scholars, the Egyptian Hermes was a symbol of the divine mind. He was incarnated thought and the living word, the primitive type of the logos of Plato and the word of the Christians. And the Egyptian Hermes is also thought to be Thoth. So, yeah, but that's not in here. That's me from the research that I've done. Okay. Fragments of A Faith Forgotten are taken from the Gnostics. Oh, okay. I keep meaning to look into that book. Fragments of A Faith Forgotten are taken from the Gnostics, those who use the gnosis as the means to set their feet upon the way of God. Gnosticism was pre-Christian and originated in the ancient religion and philosophy of Greek, Egypt, and he says Jewry. So I'm going Judaism. According to H. Polano, the Talmud contains the thoughts of 1,000 years of national life of the Jewish people. The Talmud is one of the things that I think that, because both the Talmud and both the Jews and the Muslims have this ongoing commentary with their sacred literature that I don't think Christians have. They just, what they do is they get together, their leaders get together and go, okay, well, how do we adapt this for what's going on now? And Christianity has so many different sects, and I don't think anybody's doing it, much less, all of them doing it. I think it's one of the reasons why we have so many problems in the Christian religion. The Koran is the sacred book of the Islam, the Mohammedans, consisting of revelations orally delivered at intervals by Muhammad and collected in writings after his death. Interestingly enough, and that's from the Oxford English Dictionary. Interestingly enough, Muhammad could not write. So what he did if you dig into it, an angel came to him, and I want to say it was Gabriel, but don't quote me on that. Please look it up. But he would meet this angel in a cave, and the angel would tell him stuff and told him to write it down. And Muhammad's like, I can't write. I don't know how to write. So that he would learn from the angel, and then he would go and have somebody write it down for him. So that's just really interesting. And, the current nonsense with women in Islam is exactly that, because Muhammad's first wife, one, was a whole lot older than him, and two, she was a merchant. She was the one who provided so that he could go off and do this religious stuff. So, it's the origin of that religion is really fascinating and definitely worth looking into. Okay, so the Koran is considered one of the most important of the world's sacred books. And there's one more paragraph to go, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you that it's called the people of the book because there are three major world religions that all use the same book. The Hebrew Testament is used by the Jews, the Christians, and Islam. But the Christians added the Christian Testament to the Hebrew Testament, and then they just call it the Bible. And then so Islam uses both of those books, the Hebrew Testament and the Christian Testament, and then added the Quran to it, which is really interesting. And if you've ever read any poetry by Rumi and or Hafiz, what you're reading is the Quran, because that is poetry that is commentary on the Quran. If you have any interest in world religion, read it. But there are good translations and not so great translations. When I took Islam in ministerial school, because it was one of the religion classes that was offered, my teacher was Dr. Robert Frager, and I was like, tell me a good translation. And it was hard for him to choose his favorite. So there are good ones out there, and there are terrible ones out there. So be aware of that. Okay, last paragraph in the appendix. The Apocrypha refers to a collection of ancient writings. The Greek word apokryphos was originally used of books. Was originally used of books, the contents of which were kept hidden or secret because they embodied special teaching of religion or philosophical sects. It was only the members of these sects who were initiated into the secrets of this teaching. And that is from the Encyclopedia of Britannica. So basically what the appendix is Ernest going, or I assume it was done by Ernest, but maybe not, where they went in and explained what he was reading. Which makes me wonder if Fragments of Faith is an actual book, or is it, just a collection? I keep meaning to look into it and I keep not doing it. So, there is that. So one of the things that you have to, one of the things that I like the most about Science of Mind, and there are a lot of things that I like about Science of Mind, is that Ernest was very well read. That Ernest pulled from a whole lot of different sources. He looked around the world and said, you know what? Everybody's got a piece of the truth. So let's pull those together. He did not claim special revelation. He did not claim. He said, look, I went out and read all this stuff. And then he said, go read it for yourself. He pulled together stuff and said, here, look, this is my ideas. But he also often tells you where he got it from, so you can go and, look at the source material. One of the classes that I really enjoyed, was a Greek class where we talked about Heraclitus, Anaximander, and I forget there were two other Greek philosophers in there. And we only have fragments of their work, but you see, they were onto something. And it was just really neat. Now that professor, and I forget his name, and De Quincey made us buy all their books. But with the Greek philosophy books, I loved the books. I loved the books and have kept them because they were interesting. It's like you go back and look at the Greeks and you go, wow, what was going, So, and I've read a fair amount of Gnosticism because I really enjoyed that class too. I just keep forgetting to look into fragments of our faith. So, but there's that. So now we are going to move on so tomorrow we will start with Pray and Prosper. Another one of his little books. I really enjoyed what religious science teaches, even though, I'm fairly well versed in it. I think I learned some stuff, so I hope that you did too. Now, I'm going to encourage you to have a great day, wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day, let's start wrapping this week up day, because it's been a week. A do what you got to do day, a take care of yourself day, maybe take a little bit easy day, a cuddle your fur babies day, a drink plenty of water day, a be aware of the heat day, and enjoy the cooler morning day. It's a little cooler this morning. Still not that fall sniff that I'm still looking for. I've smelled it a couple of times, but not today. Enjoy the Halloween decorations that are starting to pop up everywhere day. Take it as you will day. You got this day. I think I've already said that. So maybe I just need to wrap this up day. A good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day. You are enough, just as you are. You are a beloved expression of the divine. You are spirit in motion, God in action, a brilliant light, and a divine spark, a beautiful masterpiece, and a work in progress at the same time at your own pace. That is my favorite part of that sentence. And as Reverend Jessica likes to call us, you are a godling. All right, beloveds. I'm going to move on to the process of my day. But I want to encourage you to explore the truth of your own being. Get to know who the divine knows you to be. Because the divine knows you to be good. And from there, anything is possible. All right, beloveds. Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I will be back with you around 9ish. Like I said, we'll start Pray and Prosper. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved. And I will see you next time.